What a wonderful people to share the stage with. I'm really happy. And basically, where global capital is looking in Cyprus right now feels particularly timely. And I think we have exact voices in the room, which can give more for you to take away from this session. So let's start from the beginning, Cyprus Proposition 2026. And we changed our panel. We want, basically we'll start with some questions, and we want then to answer your questions if you have any. So please, during the first question, think about anything you want to ask anyone from us, and so we'll be happy to answer. So Cyprus has a story that most markets would envy: sunshine, taxation, legal support, which any investor can trust. And but stories evolve. The golden passport era is behind us. Rates have moved. Buyers' profile have shifted. So the question isn't whether Cyprus is still interesting or attractive. The data says yes, it does. But the question is to whom and why right now. I would like to start with the lady first, but I want all of you to answer this question.
Okay. Cyprus is currently attractive to a very international profile of clients. What we see specifically the last 2 years is that we receive literally clients from all over the world. Traditionally, Cyprus, if you look back, maybe there was a dominant one market, then we had let's say a geopolitical change or something happening, then another market was becoming more dominant. But I would say that specifically the last 2 years, and this is a very good thing for Cyprus, a very good thing for the Cypriots and the foreigners alike, is that we do get a very international profile, and these clients are clients that they're looking relocation. They have like a mixture of reasons of coming to Cyprus: relocation, investment, tax planning. But at the end of the day, what attracts these clients is the fundamental that Cyprus always had, as you said, the sunshine, our culture, the hospitality of the people, and the fact that, Cyprus is a country, but it's an island as well. So we do have the beauty of an island, but at the same time, we have the infrastructure and the services of the country. So.
Thank you very much. It's interesting that we're talking about attractive points, not only historically, but today as well. And we see the shift of the audience. So please, Constantinos, what is your opinion?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
So you mentioned the passport program. You mentioned the fundamentals of living in Cyprus is so interesting. Every year, participating in these panels, you have to revisit the data and see how things are going. Since the passport program termination, and it's no longer surprising, the market grew by 2 billion. And I keep saying that. I remember vividly everyone saying dependency around the market at this point. 2 billion more. We're now at a 6.5 billion market. And since you mentioned all the fundamentals of the island, I would go a bit, zoom out a bit and look at Cyprus as a market which has very strong economic fundamentals at the moment. It has one of the fastest growing economies in Europe. It grew by 30% since 2020. Has a proven fiscal policy and fiscal finances handling from the past, dealing with the crisis. We have a very strong disposable income. And I was looking at the Invest Cyprus report. We had attracted a FDI of 8.5 billion last year. That's a 60% growth, ranking Cyprus second in Europe and among the top 10 in the world in terms of FDI per capita. This complement everything that you mentioned about the offerings of the country.
It's a great compliment.
It's a great compliment, and the country is performing. And living it there, hopefully we can develop this part of the conversation more. Because of this ecosystem that is driving demand, real estate is no longer the product that is based on these fundamental physical, natural characteristics, but is a service of this journey of an ecosystem that is growing. So we're not dealing with investors of real estate, but we're talking about ecosystem demand here. And this is very fundamental. I think and hope that we can develop this as part of the discussion as well.
Thank you.
But we need to see why this is happening.
This is the next question, yeah, why?
Exactly, because numbers can show us the growth, and we'll all understand that there is a significant growth of the economy and all the basic sectors that they drive our economy. But the reason is why. Cyprus has an amazing legal system, and this is where an international investor is always looking before deciding whether it's relocating to a place or not. The legal system. Cyprus is based on the English legal system, common law. There is a good rule of law. We have normal and very good courts that they can grant remedies to any person that will run into legal issues. Then we have a stable economy, as the other panelists just mentioned. Everybody can see the miracle that happened in Cyprus, especially after our huge crisis we have in 2013. I don't know how many of you are aware, but in 2013 we had a collapse of the banking sector, and that had a domino effect on the whole economy. And Cyprus was the only country in the world that managed to recover based on its own sources and industries without needing any assistance from abroad. That fact in itself gave the confidence to the international investor that this is a place where things are happening, and they're happening right. So, legal system, we prove that we have a bulletproof financial system by recovering from a very, very bad turbulence in 2013. And today, as Constantinos says, we are one of the top countries in the world into growth.
Yeah, sounds very promising.
Elena, you were right about saying that from the God we inherited the sea, sun, nice weather. That's true. You know, after Romans, we inherited the Colosseum and different archaeological things. After Spartans, we inherited people. And by listening to you, I'm afraid to travel abroad. But I have to tell you, I'm living in Limassol Marina. My name is Zoran. I don't have a water last 18 hours. So don't get me wrong, yeah? So the audience here, they live in the same place where we live. So I think we should address and point out the things that we have to improve. I fully agree with you with the growth. I'm Serbian. I came here in '92. This is my home. But sometimes I feel I'm bigger Cypriot than natural born Cypriot. So, you know, in European Union, we have some countries whereby you cannot drive the car during the day if your lights are not on. Okay, so like France or Croatia, Germany. Yeah. I was always wondering who hired the person to write this rule. So what was the advertise look like? Like European Union, High Commissioner, Brussels, blah, 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 is hiring educated, enthusiastic young person to hire the useless rules. You know, what I'm trying to say, everything is right, but in every small country, we are a small country by size, every new trends becomes adapted very fast. So if we speak about Pafilia, BVF, and all these leading developers, yes, guys, they brought to us the fresh breed, nice buildings. You know, when you look into inside, you feel like you are living in any top high level and city in the world, unless at least in Limassol, yeah. But on the other side, you have your Gula sitting in a registry office, and maybe she will sign the title deeds today, maybe in 6 years.
We'll have.
And maybe she will not come to work, cut top empty, blah, 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 blah.
Zoran, so you are right. But you know, as soon as the country is in the developing stage, we were all basically we grew in Cyprus, and we are here to commit all of the companies, yeah, and we understand the reality for sure. But we see also great movements which was happening last years. And title will be one of the questions because still it's on the surface. We need to address it properly.
Or tax declaration. You know, I booked the apartment 9 months ago, Still, I'm waiting for seller tax clearance.
Tax
I
clearance
forgot where
certificate.
I bought the apartment, really. It was 9 months ago.
You
I don't
know-
know if still the building is there, to be honest with you.
We have one rule. When you complain, you need also to say some positive impact. So
The positive thing you have us here today, this is the positive. So we will laugh.
Just for the record, we connected outside the room
Yeah.
before for coordination.
Yeah,
I met Zoran just now. I told Elena, one, it's impossible to monitor Zoran.
no, Constantinos
and
told
two,
me that.
and two, you have a superstar in your panel. So,
Zoran,
Constantinos told me that today's my agenda is to monitor not the panel discussion but Zoran. But we'll see. We'll do it
Elena, Zoran was looking for this opportunity.
for many
To
years.
say to someone, guys, I don't have a water.
And to say that first he has no water, and then he was waiting if somebody from the municipality of Limassol will be present.
Come, bring me Chef
To
Taya,
question
sorry,
him.
Zoran, water is coming, my friend, you know.
Okay, so we basically, let's speak about who is actually buying today and what do they want. So walk us through the buyer you are seeing most exactly in 2026. Nationality, profile, motivation. Has the composition of your international buyer shifted significantly since 2022? And 2023, because from our side, from Marfields, we see that there are some changes, but I want to hear you, please. Ladies first.
There is definitely a shift in the buyers that we see nowadays. As we said before, it's a very international shift. We have from all over Europe, we have lots of Germans, Polish, we have, these are relatively new markets.
But also you have a very interesting product. It's very sustainable, very much meets the markets, yeah, for something like a lifestyle balance, working lifestyle balance. It means the sales.
True, but these in general are new markets for Cyprus. If you go back 5 years ago, we didn't have like many Germans buying, many Polish people buying. But now we also have like even Italians from Portugal. There's like really a very diverse clientele. I see at least in Memphis. I have currently maybe more than 30 different nationalities. Like this year, maybe 10 different nationalities are buying there. So I think that's excellent for Cyprus. Because
What is their main motivation?
Main motivation,
what they're attracted to?
is, and I think this motivation actually changed not only now, but since after 2020, which was, we all faced the pandemic. The main motivation actually is relocation or buy something for themselves. Main motivation nowadays is the physical and mental well-being, for people who can afford to buy real estate, and people who come to Cyprus, essentially is their second or third property or, definitely a second country of relocation. So, it's not about, I want to buy the biggest house or I want to buy the biggest building or the in the most, let's say, high area. It's about, where as a buyer I will be good with myself, as I said, the physical and mental well-being, I think it's one of the key priorities. And people, the shift in motivation nowadays is more, about themselves, which I like that, It's not purely real estate, They just want, change their lifestyle, have a good lifestyle. And our duty as developers should be, to look at this more holistically, what we build, it's not about bricks anymore, it's about really offering the right product, creating the right community, like creating connection with the community, help them to connect, offering good amenities, good services. I would say that is the direction we should all go.
But also I think the audience now are split in those who are looking for a lifestyle and those who are purely looking for an investment, and they never even think to step in what they're purchasing. As a developers, do we need to create like fundamentally different product, or it could be matched within some development which can go with both criteria? Constantinos, what do you think?
No, it's very interesting, Evangelia, and it's clear that from the developer side, in terms of creating the product, when we sit down at our land acquisition committees and our product committees, we always just put the client forward and who is this person, why? And then you see elevated amenities, the component of the community and living is enhanced compared to how things were done years ago. And it's a response to what you just mentioned. There's more diversity in the client base, which gives us a lot of confidence about the years to come. Cyprus, even though we had our share in the international media this year, continues to be a beacon of stability in a very turbulent region, with Europe underperforming, the Middle Eastern market going through what they're doing, and all these polycrises happening. And we are a small island. It doesn't take a lot to make big differences here. It doesn't take a lot for the demographics to really change. Here we have an opportunity which is continuing to basically diversify our client base. And we already see the first signs of that. I mean, if I go back to the office, when we're looking at our markets, there are the traditional markets that are very giving.
What are the nationalities?
Very active. So you have the local market, which is basically the international Central Eastern European market, which is very, has created a whole ecosystem that is snowballing. You have an emerging Israeli market, obviously, which you can see. There were panelists before. There are many. You can see even in the supply side of things how this market is evolving, and these continue to be core international markets, right? At BBF, we established a new market strategy just because of that. So we went in. I'm sure someone in the audience here is one of the people handling this. We went out and basically said, what do we need to do to create everything around building a journey for these people to give Cyprus a chance. It's from price lists into the concept, into the design, it's everything. And we see Polish markets, we've seen our share deal of the deal there, Germans, Central European generally, now Middle Eastern interests a lot. And this is the biggest bet, I think, for the country to continue evolving in that direction. And I think the overall geopolitical environment gives us an opportunity to do that.
Panos, who are your clients now in 2026? Do you see changes compared to the previous year?
Yes, we do see some changes. Before, the market was monopolized by East Europeans, mostly Russians, Ukrainians. That was up to 2018, 2019. That was the majority of the clientele base. With the new decade, we see a shift into the new investors. There is a huge number coming from Israel. Israel is becoming one of the most important investors in the real estate market. Also now we see people that they used to be located in Dubai looking into Cyprus, especially all the recent geopolitical events that they took place in the Gulf area. I think they shifted the mindset of a certain number of investors, which they was considering the Gulf area as the most safe area on the planet. They understood that that was just a myth that collapsed overnight. So they are looking into new locations. One of those locations, it looks like it's Cyprus, and Cyprus can benefit from the geopolitical situation that is evolving in the Gulf area. And we can benefit significantly. Okay, it's certain things that we need to do. It's not for this panel to discuss it, but I think we have new investors arriving from the Gulf area, Israel, Asia. I think soon India will be a strong market for Cyprus, and we need to see how we develop it as well. There is a lot of money now in that region, in the third, as we used to call them, third world countries. Yeah. They are the emerging economies.
Yeah, Cyprus Invest also, they're doing a lot in order to attract this new audience. We attended a couple of
events. And our president had a significant visit in India, and there is an Indian delegation visiting Cyprus. And historically, India was always very close to Cyprus from the 60s.
But Fano, Indians will not be able to wire the money to Cyprus because they have capital control.
That's why I said
they're not allowed to use EMIs.
Yeah.
They have to send, in order to get a residency, permanent residency. the law says that investor coming from outside European Union has to wire the money only from the bank account, not from us.
From the bank accounts, and the
In that
developer
country.
needs to receive it to the
So
bank
since
account.
India, Pakistan, all these countries, China, they have capital control. They are not allowed to export the funds. Secondly, until he changed the Indian rupee to euro and SWIFT euro, the price of the property will go 3-4% more.
Zoran, it's not only that. Sorry for interrupting. There is a big concern among investors as to our KYC policies, okay? And mostly from our banking sector.
Yeah.
Because our banking sector was very lenient prior to 2013, and then they became super strict after 2013. And they became even more strict than the most strict country in the world, okay? It's a total nonsense. They can even ask, what was the name of your grandfather and what was his income 70 years ago?
And why you buy the car? Why,
Yeah.
my friend, you bought the car? Actually, in the statement, you bought, why you bought the car?
So that's why I said before, maybe it's not for this panel, but Zoran opened it up. There are certain things that we need to improve in order to accommodate the new demand of our market.
Yeah, no, just want to reflect what the guys were saying. Yes, in terms of investors, let's say we are present in Dubai. We do a lot of deals, Dubai, Côte d'Azur, Cyprus, Marbella, so high-end markets. In terms of investors coming to Dubai or Côte d'Azur or Cyprus, investors are looking for yield, they are looking for stability of investment, and they have some mid or long-term plan. And Cyprus is on the top of it, together with Dubai. Better than France or Spain, because of taxation, safety.
Yeah.
In Spain, when you have a house in Marbella, you need also to hire a security company to keep up on your property while you're not there. You know, in terms of those other investors that are moving to live, this is where we have to improve a lot of things. This is where, let's say, of course, they will prefer to move to Dubai and Cyprus because of taxation, and because of, again, security and way of living and standard of living is not GDP of the country. Standard of living is happiness of my family and security of my family. So when you read on these portals, the best places to live, and they put Vancouver, I'm shocking. You know, what's Vancouver? Who's going to Vancouver? If you're not junkie, you don't go to Vancouver. But of course, somebody's paying this other. And it's good what Fano said, that Cyprus government is doing now promotion, visiting some other countries, that leading developers in the countries are creating, like you guys here are creating the business development strategy, but that has to be followed by the public sector.
That's another huge subject.
Yes.
But that has to be agreed with the public sector. You know, we don't even discuss banks in Cyprus. There are no banks in Cyprus. You know, the bankers in Cyprus should not get the bonus. They should get psychologists. Because what they are telling them to do, you know, you come home, you're shaking, you know, I mean, you know. So this is different topic. Of course, this is topic for some medical expert. But what I'm trying to say here, we have on one side, that reminds me of one country, on a top level, we are trying to do everything for the future. And then
the private sector is trying.
Bravo. And then as it's going down to the bottom, somewhere we are losing time and focus but the good thing is that the big guys like BBF, Pafilia, sorry if I didn't mention some name, all of you knows where the market goes. And you should lead the public sector into that direction.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Thank you. And this is, and we have to speak up and open up discussion on every topic. We are only 1 million people country. We are not US, 360 million, and 8% of them have passport, imagine. So we are small country, and in a small country, you can change things fast. Remember 2013? When we were,
I do remember it very, very
guys,
well,
I came to
unfortunately.
Limassol 93. We were shitting in the hole. There was no sewage system. I'm not joking. Look the Limassol today. It's Dubai of Mediterranean. I'm not joking. Seriously.
Yeah, but it all happened because of the private sector.
Bravo, I know, yes.
And that's something that we discussed with Zoran before we came on the panel, that there is a message that we need to give, okay? Now, imagine we have two trains on parallel rails. On one is a private sector, speeding with 100 kilometers an hour. Parallel to us is the government sector, 5 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Private sector arrives, the public sector didn't even start. And that it's the small problems that we need to address, and we need to suggest solutions. So there is certain messages that we need to pass to the public sector. They need to follow us. And then Cyprus, really, it has huge potential.
How you see these messages could be passed? In what sense? For example, let's say after our session today, we decided that 5 of us will go to pass the message. What is the tactic? We need to send, I don't know, emails, make voting. We need to go on the television. We need to go to private meetings with the ministers. What should be the tactic?
The tactic is very simple. Today we have 50 different organizations, SIPA, MIPA, DIPA, you name it. If you check all their CEOs, ex-government officials, all of them. So who from the private sector today has a voice? None of us. If we have connections, yeah, we may pass a message, but we need to unify. Bar Association, Accountants Association,
Real estate
association. We need to create a voice. Tech Island, which again is from the private sector. We need to unify our voices. We need to sit down and go to the government and give specific guidelines and suggestions. Not only doing the opposition, it's not politics here, it's business. We need to come with solid suggestions on what they need to do.
No, basically within this
And that
Cyprus...
starts not only from the central government, even the local councils. Municipalities. We see Limassol growing. Did you see any new park? No. Did you see any pedestrian streets? Rarely. And those we have, they are occupied by illegal immigrants. So we need to push them to start using the money we are giving from taxes, from foreign investors, whoever is contributing to the economy needs to get something back. I don't need 92 vice mayors in a country of 1 million. I don't need 22 mayors in a country with 4 cities.
I totally agree with you. And you know, within the Cyprus Developers Association, Yanis Misralis also as the head of the association, all of us who are doing a lot to smooth some, to speed up some processes or to pay attention to something which really government does not. But still, even if we want to create parks, even if we have investors who are ready to invest, I don't know, in parks and kids' playground, it's still not easy. You are like facing the door, but
Stavroula or Yorgula, what the name he mentioned, she will go for coffee and come back in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
no, but
sorry
things
for interrupting. You're right.
Much better than it was before, and we see the progress. Although definitely in terms of the speed, it could be much faster.
Yeah.
But
sorry for interrupting. You're right, but here we have huge gap between the public and private. Huge gap. It's huge mentality, it's a way of living, it's everything. It's not just legislation. You have politicians that dislike things they don't know. Usually politicians in Cyprus, they have no one working day of
We have
CV.
elections, so let's avoid this.
Okay, let's talk about the public sector, not politicians, public sector. Yeah, I agree. So here you have to sell them the story that this was their idea. So if you come 10 of them saying your idea, they will say, oh no, my friend, we have laws, we have rules. Everybody are saying European Union. Like the European Union, what is European Union? There is no European Union. What is the union in Europe?
We need to take you as an ambassador for
me. No, I'm not qualified. You know, and I don't have a voter.
So important. What we need to do as a first step, we need to digitalize.
This is it. If we robotize or digitalize, as you said, things, then the level of decision will not be on the personals.
We need to bury bureaucracy.
Bravo. We need to bury bureaucracy. Can I give you just 1 second personal example? I wanted to buy the flat in Dubai and I was on some waiting list. It's not new building, it's old building, but I like it. And I got a deal in August 22, 23. I was flying with my son, 47 degrees. We were landing in Dubai 10 in the morning. 12 in the morning, 12 noon, we have in land registry office, signing, 12 o'clock. We give checks. 12:05. I'm in a car going toward that apartment. I receive on my WhatsApp title deeds. With these title deeds, while we are going toward the apartment, I'm connecting electricity, water, and gas. I'm entering 12:30, 12:40 apartment, and I'm switching on the lights. Thank you very much. Don't compare this with Marbella, Côte d'Azur, Villefranche, Limassol, Paphos. No, no. Why? Because they have one person making decisions. And that one person is also doing
but we
business.
cannot have dictatorship.
We cannot have monarchy with all the respect.
Give me, my friend. No, I agree. But why don't we learn from the good examples? Why we are trying finding excuses in our own weak points?
Yeah, but also I will agree with Elena that things are getting better. Okay, so compared to what Cyprus governmental machine was 20 years ago, we have huge improvements. There is room for further improvement. And I think the private sector, you should unify it with a common voice and start giving exactly measures that will help further development. That's it.
Now, we're doing a lot. So definitely, it's always not enough. I mean, we all as developers, but definitely there is a huge way of improvement. We touched a bit the title deed, and it was also always very sensitive question in Cyprus. Can you tell us where we're now, basically, with titles, and what is the current situation? Definitely, we have lots of new development, and basically everything is clear there. But still, we have lots who face lots of difficulties.
Yeah, we have the trapped investors of the past. Unfortunately, the way things were handled were not correct. You had a developer mortgaging the land, getting a loan from the bank, building a block of apartments, even start building without having the planning permit, sell them out. The new owners walk in their apartments, they cannot get a title deed because the land is mortgaged. Then it was repossessed and you had all this mess. Okay, we had a huge new regulation imposed in 2015, which gave the tools to the land registry, helped the trapped investors to get their title deeds. It moved quite smoothly. Of course, it didn't solve the problem, but it made it easier. We see that in the government, there is a willingness to solve the problem. It's not easy to happen overnight. But we are in a much better position than what we was 10 or 15 years ago. What I think we should do is simplify the procedures. Because today, again, bureaucracy is killing the title deeds progress. So instead of relying on 20 civil employees to cover the whole island, we should give more authorities to architects, to the civil engineers, even put the responsibility on the shoulders of the developer, okay? And simplify also a bit the process, so we'll have a much faster way to get our title deeds. But
Digitalization.
well, digitalizing also helps, Zoran. It's always important when you manage to do it. But today, unfortunately, we have too many authorities getting involved. And that's what creates delays.
Yeah.
Let's, since we're in the real estate exhibition, let's talk about real estate pricing and generally what is on the market available. So high-end residential is clearly hot, but what about commercial, service apartments, short-term rental assets, mixed use? Are international investments beginning to diversify beyond luxury residential in Cyprus, or is that still the dominant play? And where we are with affordable living as well? Who wants to?
Well, I could say statistically, the luxury segment is maybe 500 million, bit more, out of 6.5 of the whole island.
Yeah.
So the reality is that even though it seems to be sustainable, you can like 20 sales a month across the island. That's it. It's not. It is a lot if you consider like the size of the island and if you see the prices. But the reality is that the country is much more diverse than that. We see a global trend where you have niche living sectors developing in co-living, student housing, you have affordable communities, you have social. So these niches are developing across the world. They attract a lot of institutional investments across the world. Now, this another discussion which I will not open is how institutionalized we are as a country because of these reasons and other in the past. But I will not go there. But if you look at the big funds across the world, they're shifting away from commercial, moving into living sectors, and then trying to find specialization and niche. Cyprus, even though it's fueled by private capital, high net worth individuals, private equity, what have you, is not immune, is not a stranger to that, but it happens in a more organic way, based on the real examples. You said we know what's happening. Someone said it from the panel. We hear the clients, we anticipate the needs, and we go for it. You look at the demographics. There are things that are happening, and there are things that are already in motion. There are concepts that are developing, and fellow colleagues in other companies are looking at as well, which is interesting. So I would say niche living is the future, where you have specializations and you have a specific identity within the project.
Evangelia, what do you think?
I say that there is really the last, let's say, 5 years, there's really a mixture of product in the market, you know, which before you
So you think that you were fine with the product line, generally?
I feel that, you know, there's product concepts, you know, like mixed use, more sustainable, more affordable housing, more community-style living. So I think that almost everybody, you know, that are in the real estate business are moving in the right direction. You know, they pay attention to the design, which you know, you go back years ago, people were not paying attention to the architecture. They pay money for the architectural design. They think about the concept. So this is a correct direction. They think about the communities. You know, they say, you know, like this is going to be more affordable housing. This is going to be more a luxury end. So there is thought, there is concepts behind, there is variety of product, there is a lot of diversification in the market, and especially between the cities. You know, if you go to Larnaca, if you come to Paphos, you come to Limassol, you will see a very diverse product. So I think, you know, of course, I believe there is more work to be done. You know, like I really believe, you know, being in the business for the last 20 years, I feel that, you know, people should spend more time on the creation aspect and on the master planning aspect, on the concept before actually running to launch or sell. If everybody will start doing that in the right way, you know, then beautiful projects, beautiful concepts will come into place throughout Cyprus. And I think it's the right direction that the market is going. You know, more young also entrepreneurs are entering. We see all the time the real estate industry, and I feel everybody now is paying attention and to the design and to the sustainability and to the concept. So I think that's a positive.
I agree with you, because 5 years ago, on the one hand, everyone is saying that the prices are high, but on the other hand, 5 years ago, we were selling fundamentally different product. Yeah. So what we're selling today didn't exist 5 years ago, and this is why also it changed in terms of the pricing as well. Before you buy, what every investor should know, if you had 5 minutes with a serious international investor who had never bought anything in Cyprus, what are the 2 things you would absolutely want them to understand before signing anything? Not selling Cyprus as the fundamental in nature or something. What are the 2 things which you think are the most important? Zoran.
I would ask Zoran as well.
Luca, no.
Zoran?
If we talk about the finance side, not real estate side, we have.
No, but it's one of the most. It's one of the pillars, because it can kill the deal or make it smooth.
Of course, I'm proud to say that we have a lot of escrows that banks are not doing. A lot of escrows, especially in Dubai and Côte d'Azur. A lot. I think that, I don't know, my guys are here. Every other deal in Côte d'Azur is escrow. because of the legislation, sending money to notaries paying the seller, etc., etc. On one side, you have banks not covering the product needed for these guys. And on the other side, you don't allow us to do the payment on behalf of the non-EU customers that are applying for a residency golden visa. What is that? So we have to sit down and first discuss in financial sector, I'm not talking about legal, and what we want to achieve and how we in financial sector in Cyprus can help this industry grow. If president goes to India and there are 100 Indians wants to buy their properties, they will not be able to buy because they cannot send the money. If they can send through me, and they can, they will not be allowed to have golden visa, permits, whatever.
So one of the things you will tell that they have to work with the company.
I think that financial sector should be heavily engaged into these talks that we are discussing from the legislation point of view, because it is like, you want to clean your house, and before you clean the floor, probably you have to clean the table. You can't make the floor wet and then you walk there to clean the table. So everything is in a one borscht, everything is in a one pot. And if we don't talk to each other, definitely for banks, real estate is not important what they are doing, because banks, 95% of the income of the banks in Cyprus comes from mortgage loans. Okay, so for them, affordable accommodation might be interesting point because they can give the mortgage loan. But for investor who is coming to Cyprus and wants, let's say, to obtain the permanent residency, to invest, he doesn't go for mortgage. He doesn't need a bank. He needs solution that you are anyhow offering that will be smooth and easy. And let's say, I'll give you one example. If you are with us let's say you live in Switzerland, you want to buy the property in Dubai, or vice versa, and you have your local currency, Swiss franc, and you have to pay out in dirham, it will take you 10 minutes. Because you can exchange currency on the platform and use the local payment routes. Imagine you are in Cyprus, you have your personal accounts in any bank you have in Cyprus, and imagine you want to pay the property in Switzerland. Just gonna ask a question. Close your eyes, imagine you go on your e-banking, doesn't matter what is the name of the local bank, and you want to send 700,000 euros, francs to buy property in Switzerland. What will happen? What will happen?
Probably you don't need property in Switzerland. You have to keep property in Cyprus. And
I know, but I'm saying the same applies for these people. Let's say Swedish, or you mentioned Poland. They have Polish zloty. We can enable them to pay in Polish zloty. Why we are hustling people to exchange the money, spend money, send the money? Let's receive Polish zloty. What's the big deal?
So in this case, looking out 3 to 5 years, what does success look like for Cyprus as an international real estate destination? Fanos, what do you think?
Look.
What would have we go? What we need to
what
do?
We need to do?
Yeah, what we need to do, and where we could be.
We need to do a lot of things, okay? But we also have very good foundations, okay? That we can just build on them. So if our real estate tycoons will continue working on the same rhythm, bring new projects in the market, if we manage to continue having financial stability, political stability, and improve a bit our banking sector, I think the next 5 years will be an example for the whole world to follow. Cyprus can become a significant destination for international investors and also for people who are seeking a best tax destination, because we all need to accept that Cyprus is an amazing tax system. Maybe it's definitely the best in European Union, and it's one of the best in the world. We are on white list, very, very important.
Right.
Low tax regime. Our tax office is quite efficient. We don't have laws changing, especially on tax aspects, every 2 or 3 weeks, like we see in other countries around the world. We have a very, very solid tax system which gives confidence to an international investor coming on the island, staying on the island and know that tomorrow morning nobody will wake up and decide that we'll increase taxes. So we need to safe keep all these pillars, build on them for the next 5 years. And I think the future is there.
Yeah, we're out of time, and since we want to save some for questions, last question, even not a question, one word or phrase that defines Cyprus real estate in 2026. If something you would put on the billboard, let's say.
Momentum.
Evangelia, yours?
What's a difficult one? Something that?
A word or a phrase you put on the billboard which will define Cyprus real estate market 2026.
Momentum. Well, that defines the real estate. Let me think.
You can use the same.
I didn't get yours, that's why I'm saying momentum. How that defines real estate. I don't know, I would say because I always think about people and lifestyle change. I would say like lifestyle change. Yeah, I would say lifestyle. At the end of the day, real estate is one of the most expensive purchase people do. So it should be something that pleases and offers them a good lifestyle.
Yeah. Zoran, what do you think?
Quality of life. I'm not here because of taxes. I don't care about taxes. I'm living here because I love being here. Quality of life, security, stability.
Fanas, what is
I'm not a marketeer. I'm a lawyer, so.
I would say home for the world, or something which is still underestimated on the whole world map. So
Fair legal fees.
I cannot promote that.
Fair legal fees.
Anyway, let's go to our public.
yeah,
Let's
please.
receive some questions and let's have
we'll
some
be happy
interactions.
to.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to touch on niche living that Constantinos mentioned and beautiful architecture that Evangelia mentioned. And I wanted to ask about later living because, in my opinion, there's a bit of a lack in Cyprus. And I'm talking about beautiful later living and the way it's established in Europe, not how it's established in Cyprus. So my question is, if you think there's a demand, and if there is a demand, what actions are you taking towards that?
Very interesting. Cyprus has elderly housing, right? So if you look at how Cyprus has one of the most acute elderly demographics of Europe. We have a very high life expectancy, so we don't tend to die young. And we have an aging population because fertility rate is low. We have, I think, the lowest in Europe. And combining that together, 2/3 of the population by 2070 will be above 65. No one looks at that. And our product is not fit for that need. And you're right. And the honest truth is that it's more difficult at the moment. And I think that's why private initiative, it's more difficult as a concept because other things work. There's a momentum. The market is trying. Yeah. But the reality is you're touching a very good, I'm being very honest about the reality is you're touching something that is inevitable. And Cyprus is not an exception. There are good elderly housing concepts across the world that we can learn from, that have perfected how you interact with that in the more limited time left on you on this planet, and how this moves away into being managed alternatively. And we have a lot to learn from that. We are now looking at concepts like this, but I'll be honest with you, when the market is having a momentum and each developer looks at their product and their priorities, it seems that concepts like this fall short, and I wouldn't be surprised that something will be happening in that space very shortly.
Just to say, also as Pafilia, we haven't really, let's say, did something just specific for that category. But I do know that there is a lot of projects that are being designed in the market specifically for that target group. But I would say also something which is based on what Constantinos said, the today's 70-year-old or 80-year-old is not like he was like 50 years ago. Yeah. So it's people with an active lifestyle. The generations have shifted. The age groups have changed. So what I do believe, when you create a project that is built on a community style living, you offer services, amenities, you can actually cater in the right way also for these kind of, let's say, age groups that they might need a bit more attention as far as services and amenities. And I think that is even better, because personally I like communities with many age groups, many nationalities, and kids, single. I think that's the future. I don't believe a lot in just really segregating a specific category and making.
And I know that some individuals are working and they have conceptually created this kind of concept, and they're looking for investors. So it will come, not today, but it's in the loop.
So I have a question on Zoran and the rest as well. How you think in the future comes, because I come from the finance sector and I have many investors from Germany and Switzerland, and the problem of is this the transfer the money fast to the island and buy fast, and now with the AI system and all the system, the people looking for faster, so skip the architect style and want to make it with the AI and want to buy really fast for move the momentum, like you said, your colleague also. And my question is, how you see the future of being some process to be faster, to be on point, like you said, like in Dubai or something else, for the real estate project?
Well, thank you for, what the guys were mentioning, it has to be single voiced over the public sector in adopting many things. I can say from financial side, it's a shame that 50-60% of our escrows and deals in, I'm not going to say UAE or Spain are through crypto. And here, when you mention crypto, they're jumping on the floor, like you kill someone, So we need to have, as the guy said, single voice, sell them the story that is their idea, and go with the flow, nothing else. But everything my colleagues have on the panel mentioned is true. We are really playing an important role based on the size of the country. Every project I see from these guys when I'm driving throughout the city, I'm closing my eyes and say, oh, I wish I lived here. And this is a beautiful thing. Now, no one is perfect. At least we know what we have to do. People don't get old, they get tired of the things. We cannot afford to get tired of the certain things, and we have to fight to create better environment for business, for our kids, for our families, for the future. And not if something we don't know, not to say no. Like, we humans, we became very strange. Every time that there is some war, we take a side. Nobody thinks about the people that are living there. Where is the war? Oh, I am for this one, I am for that one. Oh, this one is crazy. Oh, these ones are terrorists. No. What about the people that live there? So we became really commercialized completely. And here, real estate is something, it's a compound of your family. Your home is the ground where your family lives, where you have your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. And Real Estate Expo and the forums are actually, should be every month, not once a year, taking us back to the roots. And we should accept, you're in the financial sector, would it be any problem for you to send crypto, USDT? No. So people here in the public sector, I will pay them education wherever they want to go. They like to go to Athens and Brussels and these boring places. Okay, I send them to Brussels. Let's educate them how to manage and monitor crypto payments. Because high risk doesn't mean we say no, but how you manage the risk.
Zoran, but we are living in an over-regulated part of the world.
Here.
Okay? Yes. And this is not a thing that is happening only in Cyprus. That's a European reality. It's the financial sector, it's over-regulated. And unfortunately, Cyprus on its own cannot make the difference. We cannot change the regulation because we are monitored by ECB. And we are forced and obliged to follow certain guidelines. So, in your question, unfortunately, with the current situation, you need to follow proper KYC process, comply with all the regulations, and provided that you can build up a good profile for your client, then it's not as difficult to transfer the money on the island. Maybe it will not be fast enough, totally agree, but if you build a proper profile, then it's doable. So we need to distinguish, and also, and that's why Zoran said correctly, we need to educate and help people understand, especially people that they're coming from countries outside the EU. KYC, know your client principles are very, very important. And if you build up your transaction starting from that point, then you will have a smooth transaction. If you try to fight it, then you will fail. So take the KYC as granted, and fortunately or unfortunately, this is what we have, and try to build your case as strong as possible.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the
Welcome.
information.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question. What do you think? Which cities or territories are underestimated right now and will be growth as much for next 5 years? Thank you.
Well, I mean,
Whatever, we can all start, yeah.
no, well, 2025 was the first year where Limassol, Nicosia, Larnaca, and Paphos exceeded 1 billion in transactions, right? And the latter three had double-digit growth rates. It gives more depth to the country. There's more diversity. Each city has its own characteristics. We're a small island. I always think that the big bet here is not really to look at the cities, but how you cultivate this ecosystem. There's identities in the cities, but I would just want to emphasize on the statistics. It's clear that performance across all cities is doing well. There is a lot of growth, and I think again, I have to say this goes down to private initiative. It has to go down to people who believe in developing a product that is suitable for the merits of each city. And I have to say that for different, I don't want to go into detail, for different cities, dynamics could be different based on local authorities and public sector support in that regards. So more pioneering and more business friendly authorities will have a big contributing factor in how cities develop as well. And everything that I'm saying, we stand by it as an organization. In the last 18 months, we launched 3 new projects in Larnaca and 3 new projects in Paphos, because we believe in these districts, they're performing very strongly. But this is all about creating conditions of a service, which is real estate, the service to this demographic journey of the island that caters needs of this diverse audience that we are experiencing.
And in each city also an audience is different, so all of them, they need different products. So it's really difficult to say which city is underestimated, because every city has its own potential and its own advantage.
I just wanted to say here I had last week some journalists from Greece visiting up in Memphis, and they said to me, it's amazing how different identity each city has. She said to me, I visited Nicosia, I visited Larnaca, Limassol, Paphos. This is amazing. They're so different, and it's. Of course, we live here, we are Cyprus, but when somebody else says that, then you realize, and it's true. It's very different, the identities of each city.
True.
And it's one of the beautiful things of Cyprus. And another thing that I wanted to say here, I think also we will see another trend now, because of course these cities attract certain different profile of clients, or maybe they have preference. Certain markets to certain cities because of the communities that are already created there. But I think we're also seeing a trend now that it's a bit more product specific. People, they might choose Paphos because they want a specific let's say, product such as minties, being in nature, which is very difficult to find somewhere else. So, and I would say as well, as Constantinos said, Cyprus is very, very small. So distances, you know, although when the foreigners come here, they have the mentality of the locals that, you know, Paphos is far from Limassol.
They have this mentality for the first year, then they change the...
You know, like, it's really, you could live in Paphos and work in Limassol, vice versa, you know, it's like, for me, distances are not really important in Cyprus. Except the traffic, though, which is another thing.
Big discussion.
Next time.
That's it.
People are tired of us. I think we need to go.
Thank you very much for
Thank you
your
very much.
attention. Thank you.